Incompetence Pod.
Welcome to the Perpetual Incompetence Podcast, a journey in competitive self-improvement.
Join us as the three of us endeavor to improve our lives by competing in a series of low-stakes challenges.
In each episode, we will come up with a challenge and then define the rules or metrics for victory.
We'll have 2 weeks to do our best, and at the end, one of us will be crowned victor. Hi, I'm Melodious Warbler Mike Picasso Collins, the Satisfinder, a.k.a. Lil Seeky Boy.
Hello, I'm the Dashing Brogue, the Taste Bud Traveler, Dan Collins, the Wheat Treater.
And I'm Travis Gazellicus Brabin, the Planet Pusher, Postal Pile Driver, and bearer of the Incompetent Cup of Iridescent Splendor. We each have one idea for a challenge for us to attempt in the next 2 weeks. After we've all presented, we'll decide whose idea is the best. Who wants to go first? I will go first. I think, and I'm not like, no precursor, no preamble, just business, all right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is a very, very serious topic, all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I think for the next 2 weeks, we should pay attention to one of the most important but least understood parts of being alive, our dreams.
Ooh.
I think every day we should keep track of what we dreamed immediately after waking up, and then we should, do like research and stuff on what those dreams mean. So basically, a dream diary, dream journals. I'm stealing. I think Mike, you accidentally suggested this once,
I was gonna say I accidentally said dream journal. I meant gratitude journal.
but now I'm saying dream journal.
Like a literal... Okay. I feel like I don't really dream. I don't really remember dreams hardly ever.
So the reason this is fresh in my mind is because while I was on that road trip with Brett, he asked me he said, "What's your dream life look like?" And I was gonna ask like, "Oh, I want a nice house in the country." It's like, no, like your actual dreams. And then my response to that initially was that I don't remember my dreams and I don't feel like I do. But the last couple of days after he asked me that, like immediately on waking up, if you think about it, you will recall. I mean, not always, but sometimes you will remember what you were dreaming about. So I think by drawing attention to it and by like writing it down, they say like 95% of dreams are forgotten by the time you get out of bed.
That sounds accurate. Did I ever tell you that I tried to learn how to do lucid dreaming? You know what that is?
Yep, and
Yeah.
that's actually like a bonus objective on this one. But,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, I'll explain it. So it's basically you train yourself to become aware that you're dreaming when you're dreaming, so that you can like control it, or at least be a active observer of what all your wacky dream stuff. And so it's pretty wild when you kind of get to the point where you start. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and I know like dream journaling and stuff is actually a big part of it. I never did that because it seemed like too much work, but I did, like, if you kind of sit and focus when you're about to conk out, or what some people do is they wake themselves up on purpose, and then they try to stay what's the word? Not conscious, well, lucid, while they're passing into dreamland. And it gets real trippy when you do that, because if you practice it enough, you can kind of become aware of when that flip starts happening, and it's very, very interesting. So
Yeah.
I haven't done that in years, but it was a very interesting thing to do.
Yeah, Brett was saying one of his friends had tried it and like had actively pursued it for years, and apparently there's techniques that people try to employ where they like wear like helmets or glasses or something that will try to like flash red into your closed eyes, so that like as a way of like hopefully providing stimulus, so that like if you would be in a dream and would start to see flashing red, that would be your trigger to identify that you're in a dream.
Yeah.
That's so trippy.
Yeah.
So that's like a technique that people have tried. I don't know if he had much success with it or not, but
Well, what I would say is it is possible. Like I experienced it a little bit. I know some people like go hog wild and do it for years, and they really are able to do it very well. But it is like you can do it. Like I was kind of kissing at it when I was trying to do it, and yeah, it's interesting.
So yeah, I think let's at a minimum, let's do a dream journal, dream diary, whatever, to try to track, remember our dreams, and then try to, there's like, dream interpretation or whatever. We can do a little bit of that. I don't know if I put a lot of stock in that, but maybe that's part of the challenge too. But then bonus points if you can, investigate, look into, maybe try some lucid dreaming. I think that this challenge could be really cool, and that it's something that, I mean, I don't know if you've ever done it, Dan, but I've not spent a lot of time thinking about my dreams. But one nice thing about this challenge is that it doesn't require any extra time because you're going to be going to sleep, right?
Yeah.
So you just wake up, write your dream down, and then you go on with your day.
I do like the fact that this would require almost no effort at all.
Right.
It
And
would
could provide immense value. I mean, if you could find a way to lucid dream, then you were just like reclaiming a couple hours of your life every night, and you get to have recreation while sleeping.
Okay.
If I don't know, theoretically, I don't know. I've never done it.
All right.
So if we do mine, then this would be 2 challenges in a row submitted from like friends of the show or listeners. So if you out there listening have any great ideas for a challenge, please send them our way because we have lists kind of built up and ready to go. But when a really good challenge pops up, can't turn it down. So
Yeah.
send them our way. Anyway, what do you guys got?
Okay. So, I don't know how to dance. I can kind of fake it sometimes if I've had enough to drink at a wedding, which is pretty much the only opportunity I get to cut the rug, as it were. So, so my challenge is that we spend the next 2 weeks learning how to do a certain type of dance. It doesn't matter which one. I know Dan already knows how to polka, and also I've seen him dance, and he's shameless, and it's wonderful.
Dan is an amazing dancer. He's like I don't know, like a rhythmic noodle who just like flows about the dance floor.
That's the best. That's the best possible way to describe.
Rhythmic noodle. That's fairly accurate.
I've never wanted to be anything more than a rhythmic. That's amazing.
I think it was Nate's wedding. Like we were all, of course, awkwardly standing in the back, drinking and making small talk, whatever. And Dan was just flowing about the dance floor, and just he was just doing his thing.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's good. I mean, I'll dance. If you just know that you look really dumb and then you just accept it, then it's funner. It makes life more interesting and enjoyable.
So,
I think your innate sense of rhythm maybe helps a little bit too, and that you're a drummer or you started as a drummer. But yeah, you're really good at it. You may not care whether you look good or are dancing good, but I can attest that you have a penchant for good dancing. Anyway, back to you.
well, yeah. So my challenge would be to learn an actual like dance, like or style of dance, or a what's it like? To look competent at not necessarily like you just feel the music and let it take you,
Sure.
which I believe is what Dan does.
Become the dance.
I can't tell if you guys are making fun of me or not.
I am envious as all get out. Like I wish that I had that ability, but
So,
yeah.
Well, are you saying that we should pick we all do the same kind of dance, or
No.
pick
Or-
one in secret?
we can pick the one that we want to do and then
So
do that
you
one
could-
and
you
then
could do-
demonstrate it.
breakdancing or the foxtrot or the waltz or something like that.
Dougie.
Sure.
Yes. So that would be my challenge, and then the greatest dancer, or maybe most improved, might be a better metric. As we've established, Dan can kind of dance. We can kind of not at all. So
Everybody can dance. It's
That's true.
just a matter of if it looks impressive to other people.
that's fair.
Well, so I mean, how would we do? Like, we'd record a video of ourselves dancing.
Yeah, we'd have to record a video of ourselves dancing, and I think because the art one actually worked out pretty well. So I think if we kind of, as we're watching it, and we describe what we think is happening.
All right, and now he's bending his knees and now he's gyrating a little bit.
There's some sensual thrusting. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and that's all we're gonna discuss.
Yeah.
All right, that is a challenge that I really don't want to do, but I can admit there's probably value there.
You could convince your wife to do it with you. You guys
Mhm.
you could work up a routine, you know.
Sure. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that.
And
All right,
I
Dan,
learned
what
how
do you
to
got?
break dance a long time ago.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
then you can't do it this time.
I probably can't break dance anymore. I'd probably hurt myself. So my challenge is I feel like this is a good time of year to do this because everyone wants to be outside and everybody wants to get out there and see what the world has to offer. So my challenge is pretty simple, but I think it lends itself to huge opportunities. We just exploration. Go explore. Explore your
Oh,
city. Go there's a patch of woods. Just pull over and just go what's in there. Just explore. Go places that you've never been. Discover new things, specifically like geographic locations. Like go to places that you've never been. Just go exploring.
All right.
It's a springtime. Weather's beautiful. You can't blame it on a blizzard. Maybe you can blame it on a thunderstorm, but yeah, just exploring.
okay.
Go
What's
and
go
try. We've just done try new food. This is try new places.
Yes, exactly. Like maybe yeah, and it could even be like go to a museum you never been to, or go
Sure.
into a restaurant that you never been to. It could even be food again if you wanted, but we just did that, so it'd be kind of boring. But like just explore, go to a part of the city you've never been to before. Go to a city you've never been to before.
That's
Sure.
that one sounds like the most fun. It also sounds very difficult to achieve in the 2 weeks that we give ourselves. What if we gave ourselves 2 months for this one?
That would break all that people would be wondering where the next episode is, probably.
Yeah, that's a fair
But
point.
but oh, the anticipation.
That's true.
I think this is a good challenge. Like,
I do
if
too.
nothing else, becoming more familiar with the things that are around you that you just didn't know were there or didn't ever pay attention to. I think that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then like the metric would be like who I don't know, it could be kind of the same as like the food one where like either the most places you explored or the most interesting or most out there places you explored type of thing.
Hmm.
Sure. All right. I think we got three good options.
Yes.
How to decide?
Are you guys leaning towards any right now?
I mean, I like mine, but
I'm honestly
that's just
leaning
me.
towards Travis's just because of how little effort would be required for it. And I think it would be interesting to talk because talking about your weird dreams is always interesting.
I don't know about that. Like I know when other people start telling me about their dreams, that's the last thing in the world I want to hear about. Generally, you know?
Sure. I mean, we could keep it fairly high level,
I
and also like keep people. I mean, you and I, and we all know similar people. So like we in our discussions we could say like, oh, I had a dream about this person, and you guys would understand who that is. But like the listeners, most of them do not know the people who might show up in our dreams. So that would not be tremendously interesting to listen to. So we could keep the discussion at a high level, and really we could even just talk about like broader themes that we noticed in our dreams.
yeah,
Well, there's also, I mean, there's a whole thing about dream interpretation. Like, what does
Right.
this mean?
that's
I mean,
true.
Yeah.
that's something that's been around for thousands of years. People interpreting dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, popularized by Freud, but
Well,
he had.
popularized by the Bible.
that's true. It's also there.
Oh, yeah. Fine.
Like,
uh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I listened to that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
By what's his face. And one of the things I remember distinctly about that is if you're trying to like, engage people in conversations. He says quite succinctly in that chapter, like, don't talk to people about your dreams because nobody cares. I mean,
Well, I mean, that may be true in broader conversation, but if we are specifically talking about, a challenge to understand and at least pay attention to our dreams, it's sort of implied.
okay.
What
Yeah.
if there's like an ongoing story that we keep forgetting, and then like every night you have it's a continuation of the same story. That would be pretty interesting.
That sounds
Yeah.
like a really cool, like, short story sort of thing where, like, you, I don't know, you could go a million ways, but like, you, and I'm going in a million stupid ways. But like you're like I don't know, a secret agent or something, and people are trying to contact you through your dreams, and you just keep waking up and forgetting it and going about your day. But there's really something really super important that you're supposed to be doing, and you just forget it.
If there's anything,
What if
if
the dreams are real life and what we're in right now is a dream? You ever think of that?
whoa. I was watching one of those alien shows, about how aliens exist for sure, and they talk to people telepathically. One of the things that was mentioned in there is certain select people get, I believe they call them uploads or downloads, something like that, from the reptilians,
Sure.
and they learn like the greater truth, and sometimes that happens in their dreams.
Yeah.
So that that could be happening too.
Yeah. Don't you want to know the greater truth, Mike?
I suppose so.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could be fun. It's kind of like a little bit more of a fringe challenge, and the judgment of it would be sort of hard, probably. But I think it could be fun. And like I
The
said, it'd be
best dreamer.
That's a good point. Like, how would we judge who won that one?
I would say it'd be like who did the best job of tracking their dreams.
or yeah, maybe the interpreting their own dreams, or
We could just do like who did the best job or who really lived the lifestyle. Like, were you able to achieve lucid dreaming? Is that something that you did? That kind of thing.
or at least gave it the best shot. And I don't know. We can figure it out.
Yeah,
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, are we doing this one?
Yeah, I'm down. I could do that one.
I mean, like I said, it requires very little additional time investment.
So we're just going real loosey goosey with the metric then? Is that the plan?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean,
So
we could say like best best rememberer.
okay.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Yep, I believe in us.
So let's talk honorifics. I got one right out the gate. Dreamboat.
Yeah, that's good.
I think you're talking about dancing, about become hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fertile ground, though. I don't know if Dreamboat is quite it. Dream. The problem with this one again is that like there's a million variations of like the Dream Doctor or
Dream
it's
Hunter.
Yeah.
Dreamy eyes.
Dreamy's good.
Dreamy.
Dreamy something.
The Drooly Dreamer.
That's definitely true.
Nocturnal something.
Ooh, yeah, Nocturne.
I feel like we can't have dream in it because if we say dream blank, it's like it's all been done. Everything has been paired with dream.
Here's a new one for you. I got one right here. Slumbar support.
It's not
slumbering.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I like it.
If we were like selling a product, it would be even better.
Well, we kind of are.
What about Slumberjack?
Yeah. That's good. That's real good. Slumberjack. Are we gonna do any better than that? I don't think we are. Slumberjack. Oh man, that's a good one.
Do we want to like
feels good in the mouth?
Do we want to go through like 20 minutes of bad ones, then come back to it?
Okay. The last like 2 or 3 episodes, we've taken like 30 minutes to figure it out.
Dreamicus.
Hey, we had our one.
We had our one. I know.
Let's see. Pied Piper, is that a sleep thing?
No.
No.
All right, I take it back.
Pillow talk. Pillow talker.
Actually,
Pillow fella. Bedtime.
boudoir boy. Boudoir
Bed,
means bedroom.
bedtime. Best time.
Sleepy.
Sleepy Searcher.
Sleepy peeper. Slumber knot.
Slumber knot.
Like cosmonaut. Slumber knot.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not as good as Slumberjack though.
No, it's not.
I don't think we're not going to do any better than Slumberjack. Let's just do it.
All right.
I mean, Slumberjack is really good.
We can have a short one. We can mix it up a little bit.
Did we spend like an hour and a half last time?
We did. How much?
An
did you
hour and a
cut
half
off?
might be an exaggeration, but it did take a little while.
It took. I mean, it was over like 25 minutes.
When we did
something like
Gazellicus, that one took so long. Like I edited like half of it out, but like
it's good though. I think that was one of my favorite ones. Gazellicus.
I'm okay with Slumberjack. That's so good.
It's
Like,
Slumberjack.
I'm really happy with Slumberjack.
All right, let's not fight it.
Let's not fight it. Let's just
For
just
those that
accept
like
it.
to hear us really struggle for a while, sorry. This one's
Listen to
short and
the-
sweet.
Listen to the other episodes.
Yeah, there's plenty to pick from.
We just hit it on the head and we're tired. So we'll just go with it.
Sometimes
Hold
it
on.
happens.
Let me Google and make sure that there's not like. I mean, there are some products called Slumberjack, but I think we're safe.
Okay.
So
It's a cot.
it's a cot. It's an Australian electronic music duo.
I'm gonna Google that right now. Coming back around to Slumberjack, the Australian electronic.
Yeah, shout out to Morgan and Fletcher.
Their 2017 single "Fracture" peaked at number 89 on the charts.
Really?
Yep, good for them. I think that we're safe to use Slumberjack though.
So okay, well, we need a forecast. What do you guys think?
I have no idea. I don't remember any of my dreams from the past like 10 years.
I don't either. I actually some of the medication that I take makes it so I don't dream. So maybe I'll just stop taking it. It'll be fine.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like the thing is that you always dream. It's just a question of whether you remember it or not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll be curious to see. Like I said, I was of the impression that I didn't dream or that I didn't remember them. Like I think I flat out said like I never remember my dreams. And then I think because I thought about it, I started to remember. Once you start paying attention to them, you start to maybe recall them.
Well,
And that's where like you have to do it right away when you wake up.
we should all put an emphasis on researching like in case we truly don't remember or don't dream, like research how to make dreams more vivid and that type of thing, because there's probably some stuff you can
There
do.
you go. Eat a brick of cheese before
Isn't it like
you...
if you put like a nicotine patch on or something, doesn't that make your dreams real crazy?
Wouldn't that like keep you awake?
I don't know. I've never
That
it's a
actually is
stimulant.
true. I remember that from back in the day when I was quitting smoking.
Yeah,
All right.
well, so there's that's one option, or you could maybe hallucinogenics. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff we could do. A lot of explorations we could do on this.
Sure. Well, you could just dream too.
Not an option. All right. Okay, so we have our challenge, we have our honorific, we have our metric. Let's do this.
Well, hi there. It's me. It's Dan. How you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for listening. You're all very great. Make sure if you're having a good time, tell a friend about the show. We appreciate that. Currently, me, Mike, and Travis are all snoozing away, trying to remember those dang dreams, ding-dang things. I tell you what, they're slippery. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. You're doing great, and we're all very proud of you. See you later. Catch you on the flip. Okay, bye.
Welcome back to the Perpetual Incompetence podcast. As a reminder, we recorded the first part of the podcast 2 weeks ago, and since then, we've been tracking our dreams and trying to assert control over them. Let's start by talking through our approaches to this challenge. Do you guys have any initial thoughts, successes, challenges? Would you?
Let's just get into it.
Yeah. Hey, dreams are weird, it turns out.
Dreams are, and they're also hard to remember.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That's definitely true. I found that, I mean, there's a reason that they tell you to do it immediately upon waking up. Like, if you do anything else, you were going to lose any, like, recollection of what happened.
Yeah.
This is true.
Beyond that, like, I don't believe in the... I did a little bit of, like, podcast listening and, like, trying to figure out the methodology that people use for, like, interpreting dreams. And I just don't think that there's anything of value there. I do think that like whatever your brain was like connected to when you fell asleep is more than likely going to play a part in what you dream about. But I didn't really have any, like the big ones are like, having to give a presentation in front of a class, or you're in a burning building, or these are the dreams that
you're falling off a cliff and you wake up right before you hit the ground.
Yeah, none of that. My dreams were just like astonishingly plain, but mixed in with like bizarre details. I don't know if you guys had the same experience.
I had some I don't know. So I will say I was only able to recall 3 dreams total.
Okay, thank God.
But they were all pretty wild. I would say I have pretty crazy, weird dreams.
I also was only able to recall, I think 3. I think that is the number.
I've got a handful, but not a lot of detail in them. We should say, like, we're not going to, like, this entire podcast is not going to be us, like, relating our dreams. No. That would be boring to listen to.
Although I can, because pretty much all I wrote down, which is just a sentence or 2 for each, is all I remember.
Yep.
So
I'm in the same boat.
Okay.
I had three dreams that I could remember in pretty good detail, actually.
Really?
And like I had like a whole storyline in a couple of them. I don't know. Most of the time you wake up and like I could have maybe like an image in my mind. I'm like, okay, remember that image. Then like, nope, it's gone. It's just they just were gone. I had my notebook and a pen right next to me every time I went to sleep. The only time I could write it down is if I was still like half asleep and like my eyes were only half open. And my handwriting is regularly atrocious, but when I can't really see or think clearly, it's kind of just goes over the lines and everything.
Can I tell you guys what I wrote down the first night we were doing this?
Yeah.
So we finished recording the first part of the podcast, and then after that, I'm usually a little bit like awake, so I played some Magic online, and then eventually went to bed. And then the next morning, I looked at my phone, when I actually got out of bed. I had like woken up a couple times throughout the night, and I took, these notes here. And I'm going to read this the way I read it like Tuesday morning. And like it's in essentially the structure of a poem. So here's what I wrote. Choosing which creature to play, whether to keep playing the same card, remember tiny bits of deck building, riding a dirt bike to a grocery store. So
okay,
I like
all right.
Like I said, the things that you were doing before you went to bed, and then just like a dash of like, where did that come from?
A dash of misfiring in the brain. Kind of. So is that all of your dreams into one little concise?
That was one night.
Oh, that was one dream. Okay.
I mean, I've got a couple other ones. Some that I'll mention, and maybe I'll just run through them here.
Yeah, just run through them. I don't think we don't have like a ton, and as long as we don't like try and dig into the meaning of them.
Yeah, there is no meaning. Again, it's just like things that I remember from the day. So I'll run through the ones that are of sort of interest. One night I had a meeting with work people to discuss some new functionality that had something to do with fire or lava. That's all I remember. Another night I was practicing for a role in an upcoming Adam Sandler film. One night I dreamed of a video, like a YouTube video, where a guy talks about the music of Phineas and Ferb, but also talks
Okay.
about how the show is racist because a dog couldn't eat at a restaurant. I had one where David Mitchell and Ed Gamble were doing a Taskmaster task where they had to like run around on a path and hide 3 quarters and a dime from Alex Horn, who was in a Godzilla costume. This one I remembered quite vividly. And they just kept
Sounds like a
redoing
great
it.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
I mean, like that's what like is sort of genuinely weird is that like sometimes dreams can have like very high levels of detail, but like things that David Mitchell has not been on Taskmaster as far as I know,
Could be.
and like, but like it was very real in my dream. So I get why people think that there's like, hidden meaning or like, you know, that your dreams are a thin veil to your subconscious or whatever. I get sort of why people think that, but I don't think that that's the case.
Fair enough.
I dreamt about designing a school curriculum of some sort for some reason. And then I dreamt of recommending Brandon Sanderson books to a friend, his cat, and 2 random people who I've never met before. And those are the ones that I remember and are of sort of interest.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I'm gonna run through mine, just since we're in the mood here. So, one thing I'd like to say, I think I mentioned this in the first half, but I take some medication, and part of that medication is basically I don't dream, and turns
That's a
out
problem.
that is accurate. But I did have a few glancing ones. So the day one, I actually dreamt that I was training to become an MMA fighter. And
Hmm.
that kind of makes sense because I stayed up late and was watching YouTube videos about how to like fighting videos. I watch a lot of jujitsu videos, which brings me down a lot of why holes. But
Mhm.
anyway, so that makes sense. I had a dream where I was hanging out with my wife and a ex love interest. So that was tons of
Awkward.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember anything about it except that that's what was happening. So, and then the last one, I was playing Subnautica until late at night, and then I was dreaming that I was playing Subnautica, except I was trying to figure out the accounting for the game, and that is all I got to share. And I don't think there's any deep meaning behind any of those that
That's what I'm
I'm
telling you, man.
aware
I
of.
think I think like if anything, there is some merit to the idea that like some people will like um prompt or like try to load their brain to like crunch on a problem while they sleep. So they'll think a lot about a problem that they have before going to bed in the hopes that their dreams will solve it. I could sort of see some of that because like there's a definite crossover between what I was thinking about and doing before I went to sleep and what I actually dreamed about. But then again, I never remember any of it, so I don't know that there's any
Yeah, I
any
think it's. I think
practical
it.
impact.
I think it would be the equivalent of like you've been working hard on a project, and then while you go to sleep, you put a toddler with a hammer in front of the keyboard and tell them like, "Hey, you can hash this out."
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So what do
Dan.
you got, Dan? Lay it on us.
Well, so the first one, I think it wasn't it was like the third night maybe. I remembered it was weird because I had an image, a very powerful, uncomfortable image of my hand with wires coming out of my index finger.
Oh,
Oh.
Isn't that weird? It's kind of gross and disturbing. But and
yeah.
then it sort of morphed into me. I was a woman in a
Mhm.
lesbian relationship
Yep.
on a road trip because we had started a magic store, and then I have in quotations black magic question mark. So I don't really remember. I think it was like we
That's
were doing black magic.
that sounds like a good like a buddy comedy that I would watch.
Yeah. Well, it gets better. There's like a whole plot.
Oh, okay.
Like so we were traveling on a road trip to go start our new magic store that we were starting across the country, but we were stopping at
Mhm.
every other magic store on the way and intimidating them.
Oh, sure.
Like trying, and then like eventually our like reputation preceded us, and then suddenly I was like a middle-aged guy with like really heavy makeup, and then
Plot
I think I
twist.
was talking in like a thick Norwegian accent,
Hmm.
and then that's like the end.
That's like that's a David Lynch film right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had another one where it was like a video game where I was running. I was running through like an industrial complex, up and down stairs and down hallways, and there was a bunch of security guards that kept popping out of every door, and I had to keep running to a different area. And eventually, I found like a secret pathway, and then I jumped down this narrow hole, and I found a stairway that led either up or down. I don't remember. And then I woke up, and then I had another one. My last dream that I could remember. I was in a super gross hotel room. With the bed was. I wrote this down because I don't remember any of this. The bed was full of hair, and the toilet was really nasty with poop. I tried to clean it up, and there were cigarette butts in the bed. And then there's a bunch of college-age girls asking the guy at the ticket booth in my room
Naturally, yeah.
if where they could find a chair for their performance. And then he said they didn't have any chairs, but there was a box full of folding chairs that they could get one, and they were mad. They were mad about that.
I mean, I'll give you points for vivid dreams.
Yeah.
Points for detail.
All right. So I think it's safe to say that we weren't immensely successful with this task.
Well, okay, but so I looked. I tried to figure out what I did go and try to find out what these dreams meant, whether you guys wanted to or not. I also made a note that the dream interpretation is like an ancient science that has almost no consistency. And it felt a lot like when I was taking my how to be a psychic course.
Yeah.
Everything's
whatever
just
you want it to be.
Yeah, you just sort of, yeah, you know. But according from what I can gather, I am an anxious person. That's because of being chased. I'm unhappy and uncomfortable in my waking life because of the dirty hotel room, which is apparently another staple, a dirty hotel room.
Oh.
And then I'm also moving towards a goal, and my life is on the right track because of the straight road. And then I also have possible gender dysmorphia. So
yeah, that also makes
Sure.
that tracks.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. It's kind of stupid. I don't know. I think like it's so the interpretation. It's like, is it something like scary and uncomfortable? Then you have anxiety. Is it
Right.
something nice and pleasant? You're living your life correctly and you're happy. Is it something confusing? That means like you're lost and you need more direction in your life. It's just like,
it's
yeah,
self-fulfilling.
okay, sure, yeah.
But I mean, like, I've never gotten the impression that you are like a nervous person.
No,
quite the opposite, in fact.
That's not how I would describe Dan.
You don't know. I mean,
maybe
nervous all the time. Maybe I don't even know.
That's
You're
true.
not, though.
It's your subconscious. Freud would say that you don't know.
Yeah,
it's
How could you know?
unknowable. Dreams are the way that you know. Yeah, it's nonsense.
All right, but there is a second half of this. Did you guys try to do lucid dreaming? I did.
I didn't. I didn't even make an effort.
I tried to, like, think about things, but I didn't have really any success. So I don't really have much to report on it.
Well, I did say I tried this before many years ago, and I had limited success with it. I tried. Yeah, I'll just go into what I did. So basically, when I was about to fall asleep, or when I hopped into bed, that's when I just kind of sat and focused, and you let your thoughts wander, kind of. And what you do is, like, you can kind of catch yourself. You know how sometimes you catch yourself when you're about to fall asleep? You know, your head's bobbing and you kind of snap back, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like what you do is you don't snap your head back, but you snap your awareness back to like, oh, this is something's happening right here. And I think the key kind of comes to like, can you make that transition smooth so you don't like wake yourself up completely and you can kind of enjoy the moment. I wasn't able to do that, but I was aware of when I was falling asleep, which I think is kind of one of the first steps of that. If you want to do lucid dreaming, like from waking to asleep.
Hmm.
So it's kind of so I did that. It didn't work out for me, but I was kind of it was more effort than I put in some time, and it was kind of interesting. It also kind of keeps you awake, so I didn't do it very long.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of afraid of. Like, I don't get much sleep anyways,
Yeah.
and I didn't really want to risk not getting enough sleep.
Yes.
You want to know something that I like have been holding in my back pocket forever in the hope that it would come up on Jeopardy or something?
What?
The technical term for the sensation when you're like on the cusp of sleep and you like snap awake is
Hmm.
called a myoclonic jerk.
A
Interesting.
myoclonic jerk.
A
Yep.
myoclonic.
Yep. So now you know in case that ever comes up. That's what it's called, like when you like, you jerk yourself awake or whatever when you're about to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, now you know.
Yep.
Now we know.
We had a different term for that in the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
which we don't need to get into.
No, a lot of terms from the Marine Corps are not acceptable in podcasting world. Yeah,
uh,
I think that part of the reason that I didn't have a lot of success with the lucid dreaming was my like I'm very good at falling asleep, much to my wife's chagrin.
yeah.
And that like my whole thing is that like when I lay down, I like settle in and I get comfortable, and then like I've just always been good at just, like emptying my brain, and like I just like I can make it so there's like nothing in there, and then I just fall asleep.
See,
I think
I
that
I cannot do that. Impossible.
yeah, I mean sucks for you.
No.
I've always been able to just like even I think it's like I'm able to like turn off like worrying or whatever, and I just like I lay down and like okay, now it's time for me to fall asleep, and I just like make sleep happen,
You
which
know
I
how
think
many people are like listening to this and incredibly jealous of you because that's like a superpower.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
I've gotten some of that, and I'm aware of it, and I'm willing for my two superpowers to be the ability to fall asleep, and I usually get green lights. Two things that people would find very frustrating.
We've talked about this before. I just like sleep. I don't want to. I don't want to. Like my
I got
kids.
too
My
much. I
kids.
got too much stuff to do,
I have
man.
stuff to do, man. I just want to stay up and do stuff.
But once you've committed to falling like going to sleep, it's in your best interest to just be asleep. You've already
Yeah,
laid down, just go to sleep.
yeah,
Yeah, I have to watch like 45 minutes of YouTube before I can fall asleep.
I say I do that, but I know that it keeps me up. Actually, if you watch like any videos right before bed, it's keeping you up basically.
Yeah, you should
I
look into like circadian, like natural circadian rhythm and like light
Oh yeah,
exposure before bed, because that stuff will keep you awake, and it will also like worsen your actual sleep when you fall asleep.
yeah. I'm well aware of it, and I completely ignore it. That's so. All right, man. So
Uh,
who's gonna win this? I
How
have
did
no
we
idea.
decide who was gonna win this one? I
Well,
just
I
was
think we
thinking
said, oh,
about.
like we'll just, the winner will just be the winner. I think I think Travis remembered more dreams than we did.
But I mean,
So
that's not my fault. I tried, man. I woke up and I was like, okay, what did I dream? And there's just nothing.
Dan, I think gets points for detail and the effort put to trying to interpret. He had more
yeah,
meat to
that's
interpret.
true.
I didn't have a lot to go on, so
That's true. Dan did try to do the interpretation. I had the same problem, man. I just woke up in the morning like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
see, when I was like
Just
writing down most of mine,
nothing.
it wasn't even in morning. It's like I would wake up in like the middle of the night, like coming up from like a REM cycle, and I would like wake up enough to be like, oh, I remember something about a dream, and that's how I would like take down like quick notes. And then a lot of these times, like I wouldn't even remember that middle part of the night by the time I woke up in the morning.
Well, so I actually was reading about that, like why, because I was kind of frustrated. I actually looked up why we don't remember our dreams. Um, let's see, I wrote it down. According to the National Institute of Health, they study, sleep stuff, and if you wake up during the REM cycle, because the REM cycle is when you actually dream, then that's when you're going to remember your dreams. If you're like interrupted during your REM cycle, because that's while you're in the middle of your dream.
Yeah.
But then also during your REM cycle, you release or like these melatonin concentrating hormone or
Hmm.
I don't know, some sort of hormone is activated, and it actually actively like unremembers stuff. So like if you get through your REM cycle, like your brain is actively trying to forget your dream.
Okay.
So like yeah, the closer you like if you take a nap and you like just hit your REM cycle and then wake up, you're gonna remember your dream really good. But
That's interesting.
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that I'm like quite good at that because one of the things that I've gotten down fairly well is that I usually will aim to sleep for exactly like 6 hours and 20 minutes because that's generally when, if I can fall asleep relatively quickly, which as we discussed, I usually can, then I will get through, I think, like 3 REM cycles and then I'll wake up relatively close to that rising point.
Yeah.
That would explain why I've had more success as far as remembering.
This reminds me of an interesting thing I heard. You were saying you woke up in the middle of the night and you were able to do stuff. So I was heard this thing. I forget where, but they're talking about how back in the day when people's day was basically completely driven by sunlight
Hmm.
before we had like dependable lighting at night that you could actually like work by,
Hmm.
because they had candles and stuff back in the day, but you can't really like do a full day's work by candlelight, or at least not dependably, because it was expensive and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So people would basically go to sleep when the sun went down because they couldn't do any, there was nothing to do. They weren't staying up to watch YouTube videos, and because of that, there's like people naturally were getting up in the middle of the night and they'd like dink around for an hour or so and then go back to bed.
Hmm.
And that's where you have like this midnight snack and that kind of thing. It became a part of the lexicon, because people, that's like what people used to do. They used to get up in the middle of the night just because of their circadian rhythm, and that's like a natural part of like how humans work when we don't have artificial light.
So as far as choosing, I guess I would probably vote for Dan in that he had the most meat as far as dissecting dreams goes.
Yeah, I agree. I think we gotta give this to Dan. He had more dreams. He did more research on the dreams. Uh, I think Dan took it.
I will accept it. But we never ranked this.
Oh, it's
You're
true.
right.
I think it was interesting. I don't think that it's necessarily life improving.
I'm sure somebody would probably disagree, but I agree with you, Travis.
I think
I think there's some value in thinking about sleeping, like sleeping more than dreaming necessarily.
sure. I think that's a
Yeah,
different challenge, and that's probably a huge amount of value if you can get a handle on
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's not what we
I
did
think
though.
it's interesting because it kind of, I don't know, forces you to think about what you're thinking about and what your brain is focused on. I think that's
Hmm.
what dreams are good at shining light on. But I don't know. I'd give it like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was at a 2 or 3.
I was gonna give it a 1. Like I don't know if there's any value here. I said this in the beginning, like the first half, where in the what's the guy, the win friends and influence people. He was saying how like don't talk about your dreams because nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's just annoying, and I think that's kind of true, generally speaking. So I mean,
Well,
I just
there is value in dreams in that it can spark creativity.
Sure.
Like a lot
sure.
of like if you look at like Salvador Dali, like he would force himself to like just be on the cusp of falling asleep, and then he'd see some weird stuff and then paint it.
Yeah.
I think Paul McCartney, like famously, the song "Yesterday," it came to him in a dream, and like there's a lot of like dreams can really, because it's so bizarre, like I could write a movie script off like my lesbian road trip.
Yeah, it's
Lesbian
like that
magic
sounds
road
like a
trip.
straight up David Lynch film already. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree with that. I think that like I
Yeah.
got the impression that dreams are sort of like your brain is like an aspiring author, and that when you go to sleep, it like furiously works on like some scripts, and then like when you wake up, like, oh, this is terrible, and then it's like feverishly erases everything. It's kind of like it's insane how we don't remember it all. Like at the beginning of this, I said that like a friend of mine had asked, if I remembered my dreams or whatever, and I said that like, I never, I don't really dream, but I do. Apparently, I can recall a lot of them if I do it right away. But I had like no idea that I had, the ability to recall so many dreams, because they're just always gone by the time my brain starts to function when I wake up. Which isn't it like it's so strange to me that like your brain just like Control-Alt deletes everything that happened overnight.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, I mean, there's a whole 8 hours of your brain. Your brain isn't turned off. Your brain is actively thinking about stuff. And like, that's a huge chunk. That's like a third of our life.
Mhm.
And it's like, we just forget it all. That's weird, right?
Yeah, it is strange.
It's weird. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, fine. I'll bump it up to a 2.
Yeah, maybe after that, maybe I'll say like I'll say a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you're
think,
Salvador Dali, then maybe it's a 8.
Yeah. Worked out for him.
yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts, or should we put a bow on this one?
Put a bow on it.
All right. Now presenting the Slumberjack, Dan Collins.
Well, thanks, Travis, and thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody. I think we should all just try to see what our brain is doing while it's going on adventures in Slumberland. Sometimes it can take you to amazing places or the darkest depths of our mind, but we'll never know because we forget it. What a mystery and a wonder our mind is. I don't know.
Nice. Very Carl Sagan.
You did great. Next time on Perpetual Incompetence. Get into a little bit of that hip hop, a hippie to the hippie, the hip hop, don't stop the rockin' rhythm of the boogie.
Keep going.
Also, next time on Perpetual Incompetence.
I think that the time has come for us to update the theme song for the podcast.